Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the IRB InvIT call hosted by the company for discussing the financial results for Q3 FY22. We have with us on the call today Mr. Vinod K. Menon, Mr. Anil Yadav, Mr. Rushabh Gandhi, and Ms. Swapna Vengurlekar from IRB InvIT team. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode after the opening remarks by the management. There will be a question and answer session. Please note that the duration of the call would be 45 minutes and any queries left unanswered after the call can be subsequently mailed to the management for adequate response and resolution. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now request Mr. Menon to give you an overview of the significant development during the quarter. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome all the investors and analysts on this call. Hope you have reviewed our detailed numbers as well as the presentation. The December 2021 quarter witnessed increased economic activity across the country after the slump in the initial period of the year on account of the second wave of the pandemic. Our per day collections have improved to over rupees 5.01 crores for the quarter ended December 2021 as compared to rupees 4.68 crores per day for the quarter ended December 2020, showing a growth of approximately 7%. IRB Pathankot Amritsar Toll Road Limited has recommenced toll collection at its toll plazas on 16th December 2021. Post recommencement of the toll collection, the per day toll collection has reached to rupees 3.3 million in the month of December 2021, surpassing the earlier average per day collection of rupees 2.5 million for the 6 months ended September 2020. Earlier, the toll collection was stopped since October 2020 due to farmers' protest in the state of Punjab. In line with the NHAI circular and the provisions of the concession agreement, the company has filed for compensation with NHAI, which is currently under review with the NHAI. During the recent third wave of pandemic, we have witnessed voluntary pullbacks on the activity and some restrictions at the local level where the number of COVID cases were very high. We are, however, witnessing far lesser impact on the economic activity and traffic from the current outbreak compared to the first two waves of COVID. We are witnessing a far lesser impact. That means the impact of the third wave of COVID is very negligible. The trust has successfully refinanced the loan during the last quarter and brought the average cost of debt at the rate of 7.25% per annum from the existing 7.60 per annum. 4 of the project assets, that is Jaipur Devli, Amritsar Pathankot, Talegaon Amravati and Tumkur Chitradurga projects, are expected to receive tariff revision effective from 1st April 2022, and the rate revision is 3% fixed plus 40% linked to WPI. With the provisional WPI growth for December 2021 at the rate of 13.56%, we expect tariff rate revision for these projects to be approximately 8 to 8.5% for the next year. I would now request Mr. Rushabh Gandhi to take you through the financial performance for the quarter. Over to you, Rushabh.
Thank you, sir. I would like to present the financial analysis for the quarter ended December 21 compared with the quarter ended December 20. The total consolidated income for the quarter ended December 21 increased to 348 crores from rupees 333 crores for the quarter ended December 20. The consolidated toll revenue for the quarter ended December 21 has increased to rupees 344 crores from rupees 323 quarter ended December 20. EBITDA for the quarter ended December 21 has increased to rupees 283 crores from rupees 278 crores for the quarter ended December 20. Interest cost, which includes the interest on premium deferment, for the quarter ended December 21 stood at 36 crores, which was similar in the corresponding quarter of previous year. Depreciation, which includes amortization, for the quarter ended December 21 has increased to 225 crores from 185 crores in the quarter ended December 20. Profit after tax for the quarter ended December 21 has decreased to 17 crores from 58 crores for the quarter ended December 20. I would now request the moderator to open the session for Q&A.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Congratulations on a good set of distribution per unit. So my first question is, when is the expiry of Surat Dahisar and Bharuch Surat? If you can let me know the dates.
I think both the project, basically Bharuch Surat will be ending in the coming quarter, that is March 22, and thereafter the Surat Dahisar.
Okay, Surat Dahisar most likely in April, right? Is
Yes.
that assumption right?
Yes.
Secondly, sir, what is the external debt on the books and how much is expected to be paid in FY23? Are we trying to refinance and extend the tenure, make it more back-ended?
Mohit, as of now, basically the debt will be roughly 1400 plus crores, and in FY23 repayment will not be a significant amount. I think close to 40 to 50 crores is the repayment. And as of now, considering the collection from the balance 5 project will be more than sufficient to cater the interest and the debt obligation. And also, basically, if I will go by the numbers which are in public domain as per the valuer's report, I think even after the payment of interest and the other obligation, we should be able to pay out between 7 to 9 rupees to the unit holder from this balance 5 project itself.
So this is a very wide range, sir, 7 to 9, sir. Will it depend entirely on the traffic? Because 8% tariff hike, I think that's a significant number. So will we be able to touch the upper end of the guidance, 9 rupees?
We should be able to. So Mohit, if you look at prior to 2015 or 14, road has witnessed revenue CAGR of, if I will talk about from 2007 till 2013-14, most of the assets has seen a revenue CAGR of 13 to 14% also, because at that time inflation was also high, and even the traffic growth, because of the higher GDP, it was on a higher side. So we may come in the similar situation in coming next 3-4 years, as everybody is talking about around 8 to 9% GDP growth. And as we have already discussed about the inflation linked tariff revision will be around 7 to 8%. Then definitely we can see a similar kind of trend in the coming years also. If the revenue grows in range of 12 to 14%, definitely we can reach the upper band of the payout.
Right. Lastly, sir, what is the status for acquisition of the, I think we were expecting one acquisition from the one HAM asset from our from promoter entity. Is that, where are we and when can we expect acquisition?
I think, Mohit, in terms of the opportunity, we have roughly 23 to 25,000 crores worth asset in the private InvIT, where the public InvIT has a ROFR, and plus on the IRB asset also the public InvIT has a ROFR. And once the asset reach to the board level discussion, we can share the much detail on the same.
Okay, so it will take time. Do you expect something happen in near next 6 months?
I think it will happen in near future, but once it reach to the board level, we will share the detail on the same. And as of now, it will be premature. But having said that, just would like to basically inform you that we have an additional debt capacity of roughly 4,500. And the addition of the project can happen through debt only, and our endeavor is basically to acquire the project through debt, and those projects should be yield accretive to the unit holder from day one.
So what is kind of expectation we have from Pathankot Amritsar in terms of revenue for the quarter? I think we have earned 10 crore, right, for this month.
Pathankot project has started tolling from 16th of December. The revenue is not for full quarter, but for January we had around 10 to 11 crores of revenue, which is 33 to 34 lakh. And when the project was closed at that time, the 6-month average revenue was around 26 to 27 lakhs. We have seen a good growth, and this being basically winter months, and because of the fogging, typically we see a lower traffic traction in those part of the region. And I think once the things normalize, we should expect even the higher numbers coming from the Amritsar Pathankot.
Understood, sir. Thank you and best of luck, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohit.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dheeraj Dave from Samvad Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for giving me opportunity to ask question. Sir, in this Salem Namakkal and the Amravati highway, Tumkur Chitradurg highway, we see the decline, Talegaon Amravati. So any specific reason why there has been decline in the growth in when we consider same to last quarter?
In case of Talegaon Amravati project, which is situated in Maharashtra.
Talegaon
Amravati. So basically, there have been ongoing metro works in Nagpur city. So because of that, there is some entry restriction. So we expect that to be completed shortly. So once that restrictions are uplifted, the traffic will be back to normal.
Okay. So basically, you should get normalcy in. So this is expected in Q1, Q4 FY22.
It will take some time. May not be Q1 of FY23. We have to basically. I think the work has started 6 months or 8 months back, and it will take some time. So I think it may take some time. But once I think the lift from the traffic ban is lifted, then definitely we can see the normalcy. And I think your question was on the Tumkur Chitradurga.
Tumkur, yeah. Tumkur Chitradurga.
Tumkur Chitradurga was basically in the November month. We have seen a flooding in Karnataka. So that has led a lower number for the project. And I don't think so there is any other reason apart from this flooding related issue which has led a lower revenue realization. And with respect to the Salem Namakkal, I think that project is doing very well. And in terms of the revenue growth, I think that is more than 12%.
And Salem project recently received the tariff rate revision of 7.8%, which was effective from 1st of September. So the numbers are quite good for Salem project.
Okay, so that's on that. And how much, so basically coming to the distribution, how much this year also, this quarter basically we see a significant jump on amortization. Well, they should not affect distribution, but depreciation and amortization charge went up almost by 22% during the quarter. So was there any specific kind of amortization which we charge to P&L?
I think
I'm referring to slide 14.
Yeah, we are amortizing the assets on the basis of the revenue. So as the revenue has increased, the amortization typically will increase. And plus, for Bharuch Surat, earlier the expected date for completion was in May, and that because of some interpretation issue that project get over by March. So that has also led some additional amortization.
Okay. So how much would be that amount, sir, Bharuch Surat? Because the jump is almost like, if we say 128 to 224, almost 40 crore.
Yeah, that's around 40 to 45 crores only for Bharuch Surat project.
Okay, so this is a one time. So we
Yes.
should not, subject to means it should grow in line with whatever is gross income. This 20 crore, 22% this time is because of Bharuch Surat.
That's one time.
And yeah, if I may squeeze one more question, how much cash we are carrying as a cushion to normalize the distribution for FY23? Because this time also we distributed 90% or something like that. And last quarter also we did not distribute full amount or 100%. So can you just guide us how much amount we are carrying as a NCDF?
I think, close to 100 to 150 crores amount we are carrying, which will be used for the future distribution.
And that would be translating into per unit approximately, if you
Approximately
or I will calculate.
2 to 3 rupees.
2 to 3 rupees. Fine. Thanks a lot. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Gagan Bijan from Wealth First. Please go ahead.
Namaste, sir. I hope everybody is keeping fine. Hello.
Namaste. Namaste. Hope you are also keeping fine.
Thank you so much, sir. So just to put some numbers in perspective.
Mr. Bijan, sorry to interrupt you. I request you to please increase the volume of your device or speak a little bit louder.
Okay, and am I audible now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. So just to put some numbers in perspective, so for the next quarter, the concession period for Surat Dahisar and Bharuch Surat expires. So barring these two projects, we are left with other 5 projects. So just if you consider the current quarter's number, so approximately around 300 crores are coming from, I'm talking about the gross toll revenues. So to make up for these 300 crores, barring these 2 projects, the remaining 5 projects will somewhere around 162 odd crores. So can you just put some numbers in perspective, because if you want to get back to the current set of numbers, we would require somewhere around 80 to 85% of growth. As against what we have seen for the past couple of quarters, the growth stands somewhere around 6.5%. So even if you factor in 8.5% growth, so that gives us somewhere around 200 crores. Add to it 100 crores of cash surplus. So how do we see the distribution going forward for at least a couple of years? Can you just throw some light on it, sir, please?
Yes. I think to put it right perspective, you don't have to look at only the toll collection number, because in Surat Dahisar there is a revenue share with the NHAI of approximately 51 to 52%. So there the contribution comes hardly 100 crore rupees to us out of the 220 crores of revenue. And these 2 projects, Surat Dahisar is 240 kilometer road stretch, and Bharuch Surat is almost 70 kilometer road stretch. And these being almost 300 kilometer road stretch, maintenance, and there was some major maintenance also going on this project. So then considering that those maintenance will also come down. In terms of whatever the data available in the public domain in terms of the valuation report, expenditure which is basically for FY22 is around 300 crores, which will come down to 100 crores in next financial year. So then on the EBITDA side, based on the projected numbers of the valuer, there will be only decline of 100 crore rupees in FY23 EBITDA, considering their net revenue or impact of Surat Dahisar is approximately 100 crores, and there will be almost 200 crores decline in the O&M expenditure. So that entire thing put together, there will be hardly 100 crores decline in the toll collection. This is with a 10 to 11% revenue growth, which is factored by the valuer. Now coming back to your other question that in last couple of years we have seen very lower growth, but I think as we have touched upon in our opening remark, the tariff revision itself because of the high WPI, which is around 8%. And in past, we have seen even the tariff revision of 1% to 3%, in some project 4%. So on an average, the tariff revision was hardly 2 or 3%. As against, we have already got around 8% tariff revision. So even if the traffic grows at 5 to 6%, and considering the GDP, everybody is talking about 8 to 9% kind of GDP. That kind of 6 to 8% kind of growth can be easily achieved in terms of the traffic. Both put together, we should be able to surpass the projection given by the valuer, which is around 10 to 11%. So I think we should be able to better the payout, which we have talked about in range of 7 to 9 rupees in coming years as well.
Just to add here, you are comparing the current quarter toll numbers. So Pathankot is operational for 15 days. So if we consider in future, that we have to consider.
Yeah, Pathankot, I get that. So just to understand what you have mentioned right now, so the net effect would be somewhere to the tune 100 to 120 crores. So that corresponds to somewhere around 2 to 3 rupees DPU. That's right?
Yes, so 100 to 120 crores of in the EBITDA, that translates around 2 rupees in the distribution.
Sir, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to listen to you, sir.
Yeah, so then as you rightly mentioned, 100 to 120 crores impact in the EBITDA and around 2 rupees in the distribution.
Okay, so can we just infer for the next say 2 to 3 years the DPU would stand to the tune 6 to 8 rupees then?
I think we have already talked about 7 to 9 rupees based on the projected number which is already available in the public domain, which is given by the valuer, and there is likelihood of achieving those numbers is very high, considering the high inflation and even high GDP growth which is forecasted by even RBI or the finance ministry.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Satinder Bedi from Eon Investments. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on on turning out a good set of numbers, translating into higher distribution, and also Mr. Menon and your team for being very responsive investor relations team. So whenever we raise questions offline, also they are promptly responded to. And your disclosures and investor relations are absolutely best in class. I got a couple of small questions. One is regarding the Talegaon Amravati that we just discussed, and you mentioned that there are some works which are going on in Nagpur, so which is causing this disruption. So already we lost about 5 months of suboptimal traffic, and you are saying it will probably continue for many more months. Is there any compensation that will be eligible for because of this kind of a force majeure in that sense?
So, sir, based on the concession agreement, if disturbances leads to lower traffic, if the traffic goes below 90%, then there is some remedy. But as of now, the disturbance, in fact, we are seeing some growth on a year, if I will compare 9 months. So I don't think so till the traffic go below 90%, we will have any remedy.
Actually, in this quarter, the traffic is I think about 11.5% lower, and January is about 20% lower on Talegaon Amravati. So at least for these 4 or 5 months, we are more than 10% lower compared to Y on Y.
Sir, the concession agreement talks about average toll revenue for a year. If average toll revenue for FY21 compared to toll revenue for FY22 is lower than 90%, then there is some compensation mechanism.
We have already notified the force majeure. So as soon as the toll revenue comes down, below 90% of the average daily fee. Average daily fee is defined in the agreement. So if it goes below that, then we will have a claim.
Okay. While I understand that exact timelines might be difficult, but what is your best guess as of now on the time duration? Okay. We understand that's the best change, but what is, based on the ground situation, what is your best guess on the time period for which this is expected to be impacted?
I think the project do not have any external debt, and we only have debt of 1,400 crores at the trust level, and we don't have any debt at any.
My question was regarding how long will that traffic be impacted? What is your best guess of the time frame? Okay. That I understand, sir.
No, if I have in my address, the opening address, I have mentioned that this third wave impact is negligible. So the impact in Talegaon, Amravati,
till what time? I think it will take another 6 to 8 months time.
Right, sir. Okay.
Yeah, it will gradually pick up. We expect that traffic to gradually pick up over the period.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Regarding the Tumkur Chitradurga, sir, is the escrow released now?
No, not yet. We are in talks with NHAI. The conciliation is in progress. At the same time, there is a court case which is, the hearing is yet to happen. So in between, we have attempted conciliation. So that conciliation is about to begin. So in that conciliation, we have asked for this release of escrow account, release of this embargo on the escrow account, and at the same time, we will try to resolve the dispute once for all.
Okay, fine. And sir, on the Pathankot Amritsar, sir, what is the, now that the project has restarted, so what is the total claim that we have raised for the period of stopping? How much of it has been received and how much of it has been recognized in our revenues so far?
So I think with Amritsar Pathankot, the matter is still with the NHAI, and I think there are some error in terms of calculation of the compensation, and probably we'll be taking up this in a conciliation or arbitration with the NHAI.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parikshit Kandpal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congratulations on a good performance. So my first question is that you said that we can buy 23 to 2400 crores worth of assets in the public InvIT. So just wanted to understand how do you intend to deploy this capital in FY23 and 24?
Parikshit, we have talked about 23,000 to 24,000 crores of assets of the private InvIT, where the public InvIT has a ROFR. And once those assets will get matured, then definitely those will be offered to the public InvIT. And public InvIT has a debt capacity of 4,500 crores. And probably we would like to add this asset with a debt, 100% debt, so that we can increase the payout to the unit holder. And as of now, it will be difficult to provide year-wise deployment of the capacity of 4,500 crores of additional debt capacity what we have.
Because I think that you last time said that once that one HAM project gets completed by March and we will look at transferring it to the public InvIT. So that, so anything update on that?
So I think that project is still about to get completed, and once gets completed, then definitely we can discuss. So we have a offer on the private InvIT asset and also on the IRB asset. So as and when those will be getting completed, those will be offered to us, and we will come to the unit holder for approval.
So in case, sir, if we deploy this, just to using that, if we deploy everything like 4,500 crores of debt that you implied, so at 10-11% IRR, it should add about 450 crores worth of NDCF and roughly about 6 to 7 rupees of DPU incrementally.
Definitely, whenever those assets will be added, then definitely those will be adding to the DPU. And as of now, it will be very difficult to comment on a particular number, but definitely those will improve that DPU.
I was saying on the outer side of this thing, yes. So right now you guided for 7 to 9 rupees of DPU. And you said that means that 7 will be the worst case DPU and 9 will be the best case. Somewhere in that range you will end up after these two assets get kicked off, like the concessions expire over the next 2 months. So post that, if we add on this debt, definitely there is again a room of, as I spoke about, 10-11% IRR, so another 6 to 7 rupees can incrementally add. So in the best case, 7 plus 6, 13, and maybe on hash like 13 to 15 is the full of this trust, depending on how the assets get added. So is that understanding right?
Parikshit, as of now, basically giving any particular number will be difficult. Once we identify the asset and we get added the asset, then definitely we can talk about that what will be the exact DPU. But as of now, giving any particular guidance on the DPU will be difficult.
Okay, but 7 to 9, I mean, you're saying that is like at least 7 is definitely, I mean, there in terms of like what you have publicly given in their valuers report. So that is at least doable, right? Minimum on the 7 rupees, we can at least do that much.
Yes.
So the floor, we know that floor is at 7 rupees. So whatever upside comes is like depends on like how the traffic growth comes in and how the acquisition of the new assets happens. Okay. So my next question was on, sir, do you still think there are some, I mean, the remaining 5 assets, there is elbow room wherein these assets are not performing, given as you said earlier that because of metro issue in Nagpur, so Jaipur, Delhi, there were mining issues. So because of the inherent externalities, these assets are still, though they are mature, but still not performing because of the friction, which is not related to really the growth but more because of the local factors. Do you think there is still headroom for these assets to go to their optimal level? So, and which of these ones, if you can highlight, which assets are facing these issues still?
I think, Parikshit, in spite of these challenges, if you look at last 2 or 3 years, as we're talking about revenue growth of 6 to 7%, in spite of the inflation for some period of time was negative, and we have hardly got a 2 to 3% inflation linked tariff revision. So I think inflation, now the inflation itself is a double digit, and we will get around 8% tariff revision from 1st of April in 4 of the projects. And that itself will lead a high revenue growth. And also, as we are talking about GDP will grow around 8 to 9%, then definitely that kind of traction will be in terms of the traffic. So I think if GDP does 8 to 9% and inflation, as we have already discussed, it's around 8%, we should also surpass the number whatever valuer has taken in their projection. And further, the potential of the assets like Talegaon, Amravati, or one-off cases which we have seen, those will further additionally bump up the revenue.
So my question was more from so that the other listed InvITs have, despite being more annuity kind of in nature, with no growth options, have been doing relatively well, and IRB public InvIT has been trading much below the face value. So despite now the growth kicking up and inflation raising its head, so just wanted how can we go back to our journey wherein at least we reach our face value?
I think once we start showcasing the revenue growth of double digit, then definitely the scenario and the intrinsic value of the InvIT will get reflected. And as we have talked about the potential of the InvIT in terms of the addition of the asset, that potential will further increase the payout to the unit holder. Then definitely these two things will help basically to regain the intrinsic value of the InvIT.
Okay. So just lastly on the maturity, which you talked about that 25,000 crores the private InvIT has assets, worth of assets. So when do you think they'll be mature enough wherein the public InvIT will start evaluating them from the acquisition or the transfer perspective?
So I think, Parikshit, since you track from a long period of time, we had some asset which is operational already from 3 to 4 years. And I think as of now, we'll not be able to talk about much detail on those assets. Once those assets come for the discussion, and if board decides on those, then definitely probably we'll be discussing on that. But in terms of whatever the information available in public domain, private InvIT has some assets which has an operation history of more than 4 or 5 years. I think those will be a good asset to look at it.
Okay, so from a maturity perspective, you looking at timeline of at least 4 to 5 years of operations and stabilization. Post that, we have better visibility of revenues, and then the board may take whether we need to take it forward from there on, right?
Parikshit, I will not be able to confirm any number.
Okay, sure.
But there are some assets, and at appropriate time, those will be offered to the public InvIT. And once those are discussed at board level, we will be able to share much details on this.
Okay. So just lastly on Surat, Dahisar and Bharuch, how much is the total after the winding down of 2 assets and transfer to NHI? So how much will be the cash which will still be unused, which will get transferred to the trust?
I think the total cash of the trust will be close to 150 crores, which will be retained by end of this year, and that will be carried over for FY23.
But Surat, Bharuch and both these 2 assets will not have any cash. Anything which is there is already up to the trust level, and they won't be having any cash sitting in the respective SPVs, right?
No.
Okay. Sure, sir. Thank you. Those were my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Paresh Thakkar, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Gentlemen, congratulations on a very good set of numbers. I and my family have been unit holders almost since the listing of the units in the stock exchange. I have heard everything from beginning, what you have explained regarding the acquisition of new projects. But quarter after quarter after quarter, ever since we have got listed, you are assuring the investors that we will add on some assets. So, I mean, the management should either be sure of what they are talking about quarter after quarter. They cannot keep on telling the investors that we are on the verge of adding an asset, and we keep hearing the same explanations on every earnings call that no asset has been added, and that is affecting the cost of the units, and the investors are also not very happy with that. Can the management be very sure of what they are talking?
Sir, we are sure what we are talking about, and in fact, just to share with you, most of the investors are of the view that whenever we want to add the asset, that asset should not be yield destructive. What I mean by yield destructive, that typically the toll road business has a back-ended cash flow. And if we add a just operational asset which has a 15 to 20 years balance life, initially the toll collection itself may not be able to service the acquisition cost, and that will lead to lower payout for the unit holder. And some of the unit holders are not agreeable for that. And we have always said that whenever we will get a set which will increase the payout for the unit holder, we will be adding those assets only. And since we are and last 1.5 years was disturbed because of the COVID, and at that time basically there was no clarity in terms of how the traffic will pan out post COVID, and we thought it will not be prudent to add asset in those times. So considering we have debt capacity, and we have also ROFR on the private InvIT, which has a EV of around 23 to 25,000 crores, and there is a asset with the sponsors also. So as appropriate time, management will consider for addition of the asset. And we have always talked about in terms of the payment to the unit holder based on the existing portfolio. And we have never talked about that because of the asset addition, we are going to pay you this much extra. And we will be very cautious in terms of adding the asset, but I can assure you at appropriate time, we will be adding the asset, and we will be sharing the much details in terms of the project addition once the things are finalized by the board. Thank you.
One last thing. I appreciate your response, but if you can see the earning calls over quarter after quarter in a camouflaged way, possibly every person asking you questions has been for the addition of the assets, and management has repeatedly been quarter after quarter and year after year saying we are in the process, by this year end definitely we will add an asset. I mean, the management should listen to their own recordings and the replies that they have given to the investors year after year. Can you throw more light on why the management keeps on assuring addition of assets and nothing is happening from so many years?
I think management guides based on whatever the probability we look forward for the future. And as of now, we are of the view that there will be some assets which can come from the private InvIT.
But that you have been saying year after year and quarter after quarter.
Sir, last 2 years, I think we have discussed about it was totally disturbed because of the COVID, and the collection was even dipped to 25%. And if the management would have added asset in the public InvIT, then the payout would have been very badly affected. And once the traffic recovery has started, that has again the wave 2 has further dipped the revenue. So there was a disturbances in last 1.5 to 2 years because of the COVID. And we are confident that we will come out with a project to the unit holder approval very soon.
Okay, I hope very soon does not mean another 2-3 years.
We can definitely see a project addition in near future.
Thank you so much for such a positive reply.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take that as the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Menon for closing remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
On behalf of the investment manager, I thank you all for attending this con call and sharing your feedbacks with us. Hope to hear from you again soon. Till then, please take good care of yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your conference for today. We thank you for your participation and for using Chorus Call conferencing services. You may please disconnect your lines now. Thank you, and have a great day.